Agni Mukam Yasya Tu Jata Veda Jata Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma Anta Samudre Anupachan Svadatun Prasidatam Naha Saha Mahavibhuti Agnir Mukam Yashatu Jata Veda Jata Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma Anta Samudre Nupachan Svabdatun Prasidatam na Samaha Vibhuti Agnir Mukam Yashatu Jata Veda Jata Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma Anta Samudre Nupachan Svadatun Prasidatam na Samaha Vibhuti Agnir Mukam Yashatu Jata Veda Jata Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma Anta Samudre Nupachan Svadatun Prasidatam na Samaha Vibhuti
Nirmukam yasyatu jata veda. Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma. Anta samudre nupachan sadatu. Prasidatam nasa mahavibhutihi.
Agni mukam yasyata jata veda.
Jata Veda
Jata kriya kanda nimita janma.
Jata Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma
Ata samudre nupachan svadatu.
Samudre Nupachan Svadatu
Prasidatam nasha vibhutihi.
Siddhatana Samaha Vibhuti Mataji Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma Ta Samudre Nupachan
Agnimukam yasyatu jata veda.
Nimukam Yasya Tujata Veda
Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma.
Ta Kriya Kanda Nimitta Janma
Anta samudre rupacham swadhatu.
Sahatu
Asidatam sana mahavibhutihi.
Siddhatam na Samaha Vibhuti. Word by word translation and, and purport by His Divine Grace of Prabhupada. Agni, fire. Mukam, the mouth through which the Supreme Personality of Godhead eats.
The mouth through which the Supreme Personality of Godhead eats.
Yasya, of whom, to, but, Jata Veda, the producer of wealth, or all necessities of life. Thank you. Jata, produced. Kriya Kanda, ritualistic ceremonies. Nimitta, for the sake of. Janma, formed for this reason. Anta Samudre, within the depths of the ocean. Anupachan, always digesting. Svadatun, all elements. Prasidatam, may be pleased. Naha, upon us. Saha, he. Mahavibhuti, the supremely powerful. The translation, there is no purport. Fire which is born for the sake of accepting oblations in ritualistic ceremonies is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fire exists within the depths of the ocean to produce wealth. And fire is also present in the abdomen to digest food and produce various secretions for the maintenance of the body. May that supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. So I read the next verse. Verse 36. Yak chakshurasit taranir devayanam traimayo brahmana esha disnyam dvaram cha mukteramritam cha mrityu prasidatam naha samaha vibhuti. Translation. The sun god marks the path of liberation, which is called Arshiradi Vartma. He is the chief source for understanding of the Vedas. He is the abode where the absolute truth can be worshipped. He is the gateway to liberation. And he is the source of eternal life, as well as the cause of death. The sun god is the eye of the Lord. May that supreme Lord, who is supremely opulent, be pleased with us. Purport. The sun god is considered to be the chief of the demigods. He is also considered to be the demigod who watches the northern side of the universe. He gives help for understanding the Vedas, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita 552. Yakshakshuresha savita sakalam granam radhya samasta sura murti rashesha teja yasyagyaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro govindam adipurusham tam aham bhajami. Translation of that verse. The sun, full of infinite effulgence, is the king of all the planets and the image of the good soul. The sun is like the eye of the Supreme Lord. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. The sun is actually the eye of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, it is said that unless the Supreme Personality of Godhead sees, no one can see. Unless there is sunlight, no living entity on any planet can see. Therefore, the sun is considered to be the eye of the Supreme Lord. That is confirmed here by the words Yak Shakshur Asit, and in the Brahma Samhita by the words Yat Shakshur Esha Savita. The word Savita means the sun god. Om Agyanatimarandasya Gyananya Shalakaya Shakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnudaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Shrimati Sattvarup Das Goswami Namani. Namo Vishnudaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Visatarine. So in this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the demigods are appealing to the Lord. And what we just read were the prayers of Lord Brahma. And why are the demigods appealing? Because they were in difficulty. Because they consider themselves like the devotees of the Lord, and if they are in need, then they take shelter of the Lord. So that's their, their rightful claim, so to say. Because what happened was that, first of all, the demons were at that time very strong. There's always a battle between the demigods and the demons. And the demigods always win, but sometimes it's very tough, very strong. Battles are there. So not only were they at that time heavily attacked by the demons, but also King Indra, sometimes he gets a little puffed up, and as the king of the demigods, in this particular case, he was on his elephant in full opulence, and he met Durvasa Muni, who is a great sage, and Durvasa Muni, out of respect for the king, King Indra, gave him his garland. But then Indra, in the in a mood of pride and lack of respect, he didn't even take the garland for. He just gave it. He put it over the trunk of the elephant, and then the elephant is an animal, so he throws it on the floor and he steps over it, just all in front of Durvasa Muni. So Vasamuni uh, was offended by this, and he cursed King Indra to be poverty stricken. So now not only were the demigods heavily attacked by the demons, now they also became poor, which usually is the opposite. Usually they are very wealthy, rich, much more than on the planet Earth. They are very wealthy. So now they were really in trouble, and they lost a lot of demigods' lives were lost in the battle that was ongoing. And so then the demigods finally they said, well, we have to do something here because we are losing everything here. And so they got together, and Lord Indra, Varuna, and different demigods got together, and they went to the Sumeru mountain where Lord Brahma, to Lord Brahma's home, so to say. And they humbly approached Lord Brahma and explained to him the gravity of the situation, that so many lives are lost, and now we also, we have no power anymore. We lost everything basically, and you are our father. Lord Brahma is in a superior position. So then Lord Brahma went in meditation, and then he advised to go and see the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Lord Vishnu in Svetadvip, because there is a Svetadvip in the spiritual world, and there is a Svetadvip in the material world. In each universe is a Svetadvip. And as we know from the creation, we know that Mahavishnu, and another name for Mahavishnu is Karna Dakshayi Vishnu. He lies in between the spiritual world and the material world. Material world is 1/4 of the creation. The spiritual world is 3/4 of the creation, of the total creation. And in between there is the causal ocean, Viraga river, and that there Mahavishnu or Karana Dakshaya Vishnu is lying there in that ocean, and then from his body the universes manifest. Innumerable number of universes are manifested, and each universe has innumerable amount of planets, because Mahavishnu, he then expands in Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and in each universe there is Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and from his navel sprouts a lotus, and in that lotus is present Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is manifest in Lord Brahma, who then also plays an important role in the further creation of the Lord. And Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, he is filling the ocean with 50% water. And then the other 50%, that's where the planets are, the innumerable amount of planets. And so this is we are present here. Mother Earth is one planet in the innumerable planets of this one universe. And there are as many universes as there are mustard seeds in a big bag of mustard seeds. So just to give an idea of how, first of all, how small we are, but how big the creation is and how the Lord's energy works. And all this material, the spiritual world, the 75% of the creation, that is eternal, that is always existing. It never stops to exist. But this 25%, the material world, that has a beginning and an end. And all the planets have a beginning and an end. But Svetadvip is an exception. Just like when you have, like in every country, in France, you have an embassy of India. So India is far away, but the embassy of India, if you go inside in the embassy of India, you think you're in India, you're in Delhi, in an office or because you see only Indians there, and you see everything is in Hindi and in different languages and different way of decorating the room, etc., etc. So also Svetadvip, although it is within that material universe, Svetadvip is also eternal. Although being in the material world, it is eternal. So even at the time of devastation, it's not there is no devastation for that Svetadvip. So then Lord Brahma suggested to go to Svetadvip to see Lord Kshiru Dakshayi Vishnu. And because he is the super soul in every living entity. Every living entity in this in every universe, there is a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and he is present in each in the heart of each living entity as the super soul. And he is also arranging the incarnations of the Lord. So whatever incarnations there are of the Lord, like Lord Chaitanya or Krishna Balaram, or in all planets, he is arranging for the incarnations of the Lord to come and have their pastimes in this particular universe. So then they they went to see him, and he is lying in the ocean of milk. Svetadvip is in the ocean of milk. So they arrived on the ocean of milk, and they started to glorify the Lord, and that's what we are now in these verses, where this glorification of the Lord is taking place. And the in these verses where Lord Brahma is glorifying the Lord, he is doing that in order to get his attention, in order to please him, and so that he will give attention to the concern of the demigods. And there also it is explained that although the Lord is equal to everybody, at the same time the Lord gives special attention to the devotees, because devotional service is a very binding activity. Devotional service binds us, connects us with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it's not just like a commercial action or interaction. It is very binding. When we chant the holy name of the Lord, we bind ourselves with an loving affection to the Lord. When we do service, when we do service to the deities, or service in the garden, or service for the cows, or managing service, it is a service which pleases the Lord, and as such there is a loving relationship that comes as a result of that. As a result of that, there is a personal binding that takes place. Bhakti is not a dry relationship. A bhakti relationship is a very is full of values, full of emotions, full of proper values, proper interactions, etc. So if we serve the Lord day in, day out, year in, year out, then it doesn't go in vain. It is a relationship between us and the Lord that's building up. And of course, while going in this relationship, many tests are there. Many times we may have doubts, because Srila Prabhupada explains that also. We don't necessarily, while serving the Lord, we don't necessarily have personal interactions, like direct interactions, or even we may not even have dreams of Krishna or dreams of Srila Prabhupada, although it can happen. But usually this happens in a more advanced stage. But still, the difference between the devas and the asuras is that the asuras, whatever they do for personal gain. I do something, but I get this in return for myself. That's asura mentality. And the devotee mentality is to give and to please the Lord. Bhakti is based on service. It's a service relationship. Bhakti means we recognize our eternal relationship with the Lord, because that's our eternal relationship. That's nothing new. When we come to devotion service, when we come and join the Hare Krishna movement, then we are simply doing what the soul desires and eternally desires. And it's not that the soul of a demon desires something different, just that the demon is on a different planet with his mind and his senses and his... Because everybody ultimately at some point of time will come to understand that that we are an eternal servant of the Lord. Just that devotees, by Krishna's arrangement, by their good karma, by whatever reason, they came to that understanding that I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. But people with demoniac mentality, they do not think like that. Although deep in their heart, but it's so covered that they are not in touch with that. Although deep in their heart, they also know that in fact we are an eternal servant of the Lord. And even we as devotees can sometimes become covered, and that we lose track of really understanding that I'm a servant of the Lord. Sometimes we lose that realization, but the good quality with devotees is that, especially if we study regularly the scriptures, is that, you know, when we study the books, then we all the time get reminded to that. We get reminded to that profound understanding that I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. And the more we study, the more we apply our, we give some time in the day to studying Srila Prabhupada's books, the more we get deeply rooted in that understanding that I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. And whenever I act in that direction, in that understanding, then I am applying my intelligence and my energy in the best way. And whenever I act contrary to that, then that's. But that means, you know, conditioning means that even a devotee, sometimes it may go well, sometimes it may go. He may have some. We may have some difficulties, but then due to the service connection, then tests might be there, but usually we are able to overcome the tests, because Krishna is, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna never gives a test that we cannot overcome. If we cannot overcome, it's because we don't want to overcome it. But by itself, Krishna doesn't give a test that we cannot overcome. All the tests we get are possible to overcome. And even if we as devotees on the path of devotion service have some difficulties sometimes, Krishna always welcomes us to, he doesn't drop us so easily. Krishna is not dropping his devotees so easily. Although they may go through some difficulties, he is always ready to bring them back closer and closer to him. So that's a very merciful aspect of the Lord, contradictory to some religions where it sometimes is very square. So then here in this verse, it speaks about, Srila Prabhupada, the verse itself speaks about that the sun is an important, in this universe, the sun is a very important aspect because the sun gives light. Now we are sitting here, everything is light, outside, inside, is because of the sun. Without the sun, it would be like in the middle of the night without the moon. So it would be pitch dark. So the sun gives that, that light, and also it gives the fire of digestion comes also from the sun. And the other Ayurvedic doctors, they say that most of the diseases are coming because of lack of fire to digest the food. So whenever they give medicine for most diseases, then it is to fire up the fire in the digestion system. Because if the fire is high, and you, just like when somebody works in the forest for a half day, then you feel the power of digestion, the fire in the stomach is ready to take a good meal of prasadam. So if the fire is weak, then it's a sign of that the devotee or that the person in question is sick, is already sick, or his disease will increase. So then that's why also, according to Ayurveda, if we are not hungry, we are not supposed to eat, because we give more difficulty to the system if you eat while you are not hungry, because the hunger is a sign of the fire in the stomach, and you're ready for breakfast or for lunch or whatever. So because fire in the stomach increases the secretion of the bile, and which then increases the digestion of the food. That's why also in India, although it's very hot there, you will see in India simple people at the hottest time of the day, they will drink hot tea. And that is indeed the best. It's not the best to get a cold drink when it's very hot, because it cuts the fire. We should not cut the fire of the body. We should, of course, we need drink, and one also can drink normal outside temperature. But these cold drinks coming out of the fridge when it's hot is not the most healthy. It's not so good for the body, because the fire of digestion is very important and should be protected. It should not be cooled down. So I will stop here if there are any comments or questions. Yes.
So Krishna says that one who says is my devotee is not my real devotee. The devotee of my devotee is not my real devotee. So we see that many times devotees, just Krishna and the devotee, they don't see that. Tendency to become very impersonal with each other. Because they just see Krishna, Krishna, and it's his devotees. So, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, we all go, as devotees, we all go through stages. You have new devotees, you have, yeah, you have everybody in that sense, and sometimes we as devotees go also in order to protect ourselves for something. We kind of, put these screens on, and then we might be for some time to help us focus or whatever, for whatever reason. But obviously, we see from advanced devotees, we see from Srila Prabhupada's example how how he was very open and very merciful to others, and how he was affectionate to his devotees, even if some devotee had some physical limitation. Immediately, Srila Prabhupada showed concern to that devotee, and told him some of the remedies he had, because he himself was in pharmacy and he had a good know-how about the body and the healing of the body. So if somebody had some difficulty with health problems, Srila Prabhupada always was ready to give advice and to help and to be concerned. So, a sadhu is naturally very kind, very compassionate. But in the stage of devotional service, it's a process, and being in that process, sometimes we may not be so sensitive to our to the devotees around us. That can happen, and then still we have to deal with it in the best possible way. We can remind other devotees, and we can discuss these things, and then the devotee may have to work on that aspect. But it should all be done in an in an encouraging way. I mean, that's why association of devotees is so important, because devotees are like the mirrors around us. So if we have some flaws in our character, then through the mirrors, the devotees around us, they will help us to point this out, and in this way we can we can improve ourselves. To become a devotee means to become a better person. So, but things take time. Things may take time, and it's a process of Krishna consciousness. But if it's done sincerely and with the right intention, and if one follows the process as given by Srila Prabhupada, then there is no doubt that it will work. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai.